Thank you for visiting this tour of an online enhancement to an Introduction to Animal Science course. This is a course that is set up for freshman students in post-secondary education. It is a foundational and required course for all agriculture majors here at Texas A&M University Commerce and could in the future serve as a core science credit for other majors as well. This particular snapshot of what an online enhancement of this course could look like has been set up using the Edmodo learning platform and could be completed over a 3-week time period, introducing one module a week. Aside from introductory objectives such as reading the syllabus and becoming familiar with the learning platform, student learning outcomes for this unit include that students will develop a basic understanding of the livestock, meat, dairy, and egg industries, and that students would be able to identify various breeds of livestock. The online content for this course should be accessed outside of class, which frees up class-to-class face time for experiential learning activities and teaching methods that take more time to implement, such as case studies, panel discussion, and group work, as opposed to simply lecturing in class. One component of course development that I take very seriously when using online platforms is organization. I think an instructor should stick to simplicity when organizing an online course, in addition to presenting material the same way for each lesson with clearly identified directions or instructions for each lesson. For example, you will see here in the notes section, which works very similar to popular social media, that I have posted notes reminding the students of what is due, where it can be found, and when it's due within the platform. So this is actually posted reverse chronologically, and we'll talk about that in a second and why I actually like that it's posted in reverse chronological order. But so for example, about organizing at the introduction to every single module, or at the introduction or new concepts that can be found online, you'll find that like module 3, I illustrate what it is, when it's due, what they're expected to do this week, 1, 2, 3, and where it can be found, whether under the assignments tab in where they need to post it, or under the folders tab, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So Edmodo works like social media also in that it will post items chronologically. So for this tour, it might appear to be a bit confusing, but during the time of a real course, a real semester-long course, these items would be posted in conjunction with due dates and classroom activities. So I wouldn't post Module 1 until it was time to access Module 1. I wouldn't post Module 2 until it was time to access Module 2's materials and resources. So you'll see they're posted reverse chronologically. However, I do like this because students who need additional time or reinforcement can still access the older discussions while the course continues to move forward, and the material will stay chronologically organized. So also talking about as far as how students want this organized, they can also filter these posts. When they're looking for something, they can do the latest posts, the latest activities. If they're just simply looking for assignments, just to make sure that they've completed everything that they need to complete, they can filter their posts a couple of different ways in addition to chronological order, depending on how that student thinks, however it works. This note tab serves as a bit of home page of sorts for the learner and for the instructor. It allows users to log in and easily see what has happened since their last login to the course, as well as a collection place for any activity that has happened in the course, such as assignments, quizzes, or polls being posted when they're available, when they're due, those kinds of things. The notes section is also a great place for instructors to communicate with students. Online enhancement to traditional face-to-face courses can come with some frustrations for both the students and the instructor. Providing an easy means of student-teacher communication can alleviate some of those frustrations, which might include troubles with technology, lack of technology, confusion concerning course requirements, or non-existent online participation by some students. The instructor might consider reading notes to address some of those frustrations. So for example, the instructor can utilize Notes tab to easily check for understanding or confusion. So let's say in class she found that a couple of students couldn't access discussions or couldn't access the posts. So she could go in here and maybe just say access discussion. She could just ask about that. She might be able to, or he might be curious about some understanding of some concept that they talked about in class. And so this is a good place where we can check for understanding. And the teacher can just type out whatever they want and then go ahead and just post it or send it where it shows up right here in the group post. So as soon as the students access this, they'll see right away that the teacher was in there. She noticed that there was a little bit of confusion in class, or maybe you wanted a rabbit trail that you want to discuss in class, but you had to stop yourself in class and you're addressing it in the online forum. This is an easy breezy place that you can do some of those things. So In addition, clicking on the Note tab within this platform will give the instructor and the students a forum where open communication can occur, in addition to providing a place for the instructor to post questions or prompts, again, check for understanding, or remind students of assignments and encouraging class participation. And you could do it in the same way, in this same forum, doing those things. You could type something here, remember your assignment, or something that had to do with class, or maybe you saw some sort of link that you wanted to post that you thought about in class but couldn't access in class. You can post that link here. With the link tab, with the hyperlink tab, and it would show up here in the notes. In addition to the Notes tab, I also have a Folders tab, which we'll talk about here in a minute, but I've also utilized and used the Assignments tab, the Quiz tab, and the Poll tab. And these are kind of cool. So in the Assignment tab, the instructor can go and they can create an assignment, any kind of assignment that they'd like to do, assign a due date, they can lock it. There's a couple of things they can do really similar to eCollege that we use here at TAMUC. But just actually a simpler method of doing that. They can add hyperlinks to that assignment to explain it. So an example of what that assignment would look like, you can find this in Module 3. You'll see these livestock breeds. And so this is what it would look like when the student logs into their class. They would see that assignment has been posted. They see the due date of when it was posted. And here they have a indication of what that assignment is going to require. And they can submit it. There is a place here. You can turn it in within Edmodo. I set it up. I like things to be turned into my email because I know they won't get lost or there's no confusion. Everyone seems to know how to email. I like to problem solve before the problems happen, and so I've asked them to turn it into my email. Here's a hyperlink to my email. In addition to the easy to use assignment tab, and this is where you can implement a quiz, and the quiz can also serve to execute exams. You can also create exams in here, and that's a really easy way to do that. So you just click on create quiz, add some quizzes, and then add some questions, title a quiz, and then close out the quiz, and it will post here in the notes. Really easy. So besides checking for understanding here within the discussion post, you could also go here to polls, and I think this is kind of cool. So if you did something, so like in the very first week of class, in this particular class, we're trying to see, okay, do we have students in here that are large animal students? Do we have small animal students? What should we kind of talk about when the instructor goes off on rabbit trails, or what do you think that the students might be kind of interested in when you start to implement some of those experiential learning activities? You can create polls, and trying to find my poll. I think it's in maybe back here. Here it is. So this is what a poll would look like. And so you just click on that poll tab, and then you create something really simple. And this could be useful in your class. This could be to check for understanding. This could be something fun. This might be just something just to keep the students engaged. You like small animals? Do you like large animals? Did you understand the concept that we discussed in class? Yes or no? Did you agree? Because sometimes when we talk about animals, we talk about some things that can be a little bit controversial when we talk about animal rights and animal welfare. This would be an anonymous way for the students to vote one way or another on what side of the fence maybe they sit on, and a way for them to voice, to anonymously voice their opinion in class. And so you can kind of see where your class sits in understanding, or views, or topics, or worldviews, different things like that. I really like the poll because it can be non-gradable, just a way to keep the students plugged into the course. Adding this online enhancement in a face-to-face course allows the instructor to support learning of each student by implementing various teaching styles and reaching multiple learning styles. So let's say you have a quiet student that doesn't want to voice their opinion. Polls are a great way to do that. Quizzes free up time so that you can do that more one-on-one instruction in class time. Assignments being posted here and explained here it opens up the instructor to do some of those unique teaching styles that sometimes we don't have time for in real class-to-class instructions. So one more thing that I want to emphasize of the actual course that I want to emphasize when I was talking about organization, I also have a folders tab. And in the folders tab, so if you remember in the notes, each and every week I would set it up that we give a 1, 2, 3, what they have to do, 1, 2, 3. And so some of this stuff they would have to go, access the video, and for this discussion, for them to participate in the discussion. which can be found right here. For them to participate in the discussion, the first thing I would have had them find for this week would be access the video found under the Folders tab. Okay, and then they need to complete the assignment, which is this one, and then they need to participate in group discussion. So if I'm a student, I need to access the video under the Folders tab. Okay, it's going to be called Module 3, Livestock Breeds, Module 3 Lecture. So I go up here, and I go up to the Folders tab, and I'm able to access the folder titled Livestock Breeds, and then I can look, okay, so here's the lecture, this is what she's calling her lecture for the course, and I can find, I need to agree, I can find this Word document talking about all the different, or showing all the different videos that I have to access before, or I have to view before I can participate in this discussion. And so let's say I viewed those videos and I go back, so I check that off. It's like, okay, well, she had me view some videos, I accessed the folder, I viewed the videos, now I need to complete the assignment. Then I can go in here and I can complete that assignment, and then what do I need to do? I need to participate in group discussion. So then I could go up to this group discussion, and I can, what did she ask me to do? I need to see, she could say, considering the breeds of livestock, da-da-da. Then I can go in there and type my response to the videos that I watched. And so that's a good way for participation points, however you decide to set up your class or to structure your class. I used a couple of different approaches, and so what you don't see is that face-to-face course where in my head I would be using some experiential learning activities, a little bit of lecture, because I do think lecture is still pretty valid and important. Sometimes there's only one way to get information to a student, and that is to tell them. I think it's valid, but I do think the most effective is experiential learning, hands-on activities, field trips, in-class labs that we can do in conjunction to real-life labs, which would be ANS 1119. I thank you for taking the time to view my course and giving me the opportunity to share this course with you. If you do have any questions, comments, concerns, you can scroll down to one of these tabs and you can find my email, or you can please access me as a student of this course, or even as an instructor of this course at maggiesalem@tmuc.edu. And I thank you for your time.